Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs. Quick announcement, guys. Most awaited our training bootcamp on Playwright with JavaScript and the TypeScript that we are going to start from 26th June 2025. So, if you are in India or US or anywhere you really want to join this batch, you can join it. And this is the first batch with the Playwright with the JavaScript and the TypeScript we are going to start. I'm also very much excited because the Playwright is very much in demand in the market. And if you're coming from any automation background or any, let's say, testing background with respect to manual testing and really want to switch to automation, and I think Playwright is a very, very good choice that will make you up to date with the current market standard. Plus, if you're coming from Selenium background also, it will be very easy for you to understand and then learn with Playwright, right? So this is the course content and the syllabus and the training schedule, everything that I have mentioned over here. If you see, we are starting 8 p.m. IST. This is like evening time in India, and if you are in US, 10:30 a.m. EST, 7:30 a.m. PST, and 9:30 a.m. CST. And it's only 3 days in a week: Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 hour, 30 minutes of session. So 1 hour session and 30 minutes for the doubt sessions on every 3 days we are going to have it, right? So I quickly go through the content. You can register from this particular page. I'll share this particular URL in the description of this video. You just need to fill this form, make the registration payment, and then that's it. You just need to send me the payment screenshot to my email ID. I will add you to this batch. So first of all, Playwright with why JavaScript and the TypeScript? Why not Playwright with Python or Playwright with Java? Because Playwright with JavaScript, TypeScript is having the upper edge because of most of the new features are available with respect to Playwright with JavaScript or with the TypeScript as compared to other languages. That's why Playwright with the TypeScript and the JavaScript is very much demanding and very much popular in the market. So I would advise you if you really want to learn Playwright with any specific language, I think you should focus upon with the JavaScript or the TypeScript. In fact, in the JavaScript, the TypeScript also, you should start working with the TypeScript here. So people who are coming from Java background or non-programming background, having no experience in the programming, nothing to worry. JavaScript is very, very easy language as compared to other languages like Java, Python, or C Sharp. But with JavaScript, it's very straightforward. It's a scripting language. And on top of that, the TypeScript is also designed. So we will go through all the basics of JavaScript and the TypeScript, whatever it's required for test automation point of view, right? It is not like we have to go through with each and every topic of the JavaScript for the development point of view. But no, whatever is required for the test automation point of view, just like we do it in Selenium with Java, exactly same thing with respect to JavaScript and the TypeScript that we have to cover it. So JavaScript basics for the non-programmers, all variables, data types, operators, expressions, conditional statements, loops, functions, arrow functions, arrays, objects, and then the advanced topics in TypeScript for automation engineers, that what is the meaning of TypeScript, TypeScript set up the project, and then interfaces, types, classes, objects, enums, object-oriented, access modifier, constructor, inheritance. Exactly same thing will work in the TypeScript also. Promises, okay, very important topic. What do you mean by async and await pattern and generics? We will go through with the basic overview so that we can work with the real-time projects and with Playwright also. Because if you are not focusing on the JavaScript and TypeScript and directly jumping into the Playwright tool and writing the code and designing the framework, you will not enjoy. You will not work in the real-time projects because in the real-time projects, you have to develop the logic, you have to write the logic, you have to understand the logic, you have to design the utilities, frameworks, functions, and everything. So without the basic knowledge of the JavaScript and the TypeScript, it is always a bad practice. So remember this thing, first we have to improve the basics of JavaScript and then immediately after that, the TypeScript that we have to learn. TypeScript is more type oriented, just like we do it in Java, more object oriented as compared to JavaScript, and TypeScript is actually is a wrapper on top of JavaScript. So if you are good in JavaScript, then it will be very easy for you to understand TypeScript as well. So that's why in my training, in this particular bootcamp, we are going to go with all the JavaScript basics, and then we will focus on the TypeScript. Once these things are done, then only we will start moving to the Playwright here. So we are going to use Visual Studio Code. So I'll just today go through about how exactly the topics are designed and what exactly we are going to cover here. So first of all, Visual Studio Code IDE, which is very, very popular, having some amazing plugins and extensions and best IDE for writing the JavaScript and the TypeScript code with respect to Playwright. right? So we will go through with the VS Code. We will avoid to use IntelliJ or Eclipse that is majorly designed for the Java-based project. But here we are going to talk about the JavaScript-based project. So we are going to go with the Visual Studio Code. How to set up the Playwright? What is the basic architecture? How exactly a Playwright is different from other automation tools, especially with respect to Selenium? How exactly Playwright is faster than Selenium in terms of architecture? What do you mean by WebSocket and everything? We are going to talk about how exactly Playwright is interacting with the browser and your application, why this tool is popular and because of this architecture, why this tool is very fast as compared to other automation tools which are there in the market. What do you mean by browser context? What do you mean by page, frame, text fixture? Everything we are going to talk about the basic architecture of Playwright. And then the various navigation commands with respect to browser, with respect to page, how to get the title, URLs. Very important thing in the Playwright, which is like browser context, how exactly the page context and the browser context that we can use it, and then how to use the multi-tab in the window management is slightly different in the Playwright that we are going to talk about it. Element commands are like amazingly great in Playwright. There are n number of options are there with respect to locators, with respect to selectors. So how to use elements, how to create the web element, how to interact with that particular element, we are going to talk about it. And then good thing about the Playwright is that we don't need to worry about the weight mechanism. Playwright is having its own auto weight mechanism in the Playwright. And I was talking about the locators, right? That how exactly the we can use the XPath and CSS and other accessibility based locators which are available, like get by role and all those things. And then how exactly locators are slightly different from the Selenium. So if you're coming from Selenium background, if you're already good in XPath and CSS, that will help you a lot in Playwright also, because same XPath and the CSS concept you can use it over here as well. But we are going to talk about everything from the beginning, everything from the scratch. I will make you perfect in the CSS selectors and the XPath locators and the role-based access locators, and then whatever the number of chaining locators or relative locators are available in the Playwright with the proper understanding of CSS and the Playwright locator engine, we are going to talk about in this particular section, because this is the most important section, that how to create the web element, and then on the basis of the which locator, which is the right locator, best locator according to my application. It could be React also, it could be single page application also, Angular application also, or maybe the application is full of jQuery and everything, and then complex bootstrap drop downs are there, jQuery based drop downs are there. How to identify those locators with the Playwright approach, we will talk about that. And the element identification techniques, right? You must be knowing, if you don't know, that Playwright is having its own inspector for the element selection, just like we do it in other automation tools, right? We right click and then inspect the element. But in the Playwright also having its own Playwright inspector to identify the element. It's having its own record and play also, which will also generate the Playwright locators. We can take that also. But we will see that what is the best approach in the Chrome Dev tools to handle the static elements or dynamic elements, or creating the best and the robust locators and the selectors with respect to element identification techniques. We are going to talk about that. And once this is done, we are going to talk about some really complex elements. Let's see, forms, checkboxes, tables in a particular form on a particular page, how to work with the web tables, how to extract the data from the tables, dynamic table or the static table. Let's say you're going to the crickinfo.com and then India-Australia match is going on and the batsman is playing. So this is a dynamic data, right? Every 1 minute, the data is getting changed. Number of balls, number of runs are getting changed. So how to handle those dynamic web tables, checkboxes and the radio buttons within the web table. This is also very complex. Exactly same thing we do it in Selenium as well. Same thing with the drop down, how to select the elements, how exactly things are different with respect to tables, with respect to checkboxes, and selecting the data from the selecting the value from the drop downs. We will talk about it. Multi-selection drop down, multi-selection operations, form submissions, registration form submission, how to submit the form. Here in this section, we are going to talk about. Although Playwright is having its own weight, but still, we will see how exactly auto weight mechanism is working, and can we still apply the explicitly weight with the help of wait for selector? Can we apply that? Can we add our own custom wait strategies or conditions? Yes, of course we can do that. Can we configure the timeout configuration, handling the pop-ups, alerts, confirmation pop-ups, and the prompts? Page dialogues like alert, before unload, and dialog pop-ups, model dialog pop-ups are available. File dialogues and file upload pop-ups are available on the page. How to upload the file, how to download the file, we are going to talk about in this particular section. Very interesting. It's very easy, not like Selenium weights where we have to apply the fluent weight or proper explicitly weight. We have to create a generic solution or generic mechanism or functions we have to create so that we can use it anytime with the help of explicitly weight or implicitly weight. But here we have auto wait mechanism, and still auto wait is not working because practically, trust me, sometimes auto wait is not working. So we have to create our own custom wait mechanism. We have to use it. So how to create your own custom wait in the Playwright? We will talk about it here. Then just like we have the different various user actions like mouse actions and the keyboard actions. Let's see, mouse hover, click, double click, right click, context click, drag and drop. How to do that? Pressing the key events, key combinations. Let's see, for example, Control A, Control Shift A. I really want to refresh the page. So keyboard actions that I have to perform, mouse over, I have to do that for the menu handling and everything. So in that case, also we will talk about it here. Pressing the keys, key combinations, scrolling, viewport manipulations, like how to scroll, touch, and mobile gestures also with respect to actions class. This is just like actions class equivalent we are having in Selenium, right? So similarly, we have that also here. So we'll talk about that as well. Then we are going to talk about the browser context and the authentication. This is a lovely feature, amazing, beautiful feature in Playwright. Like first of all, we'll talk about the browser context. Browser context means from the same browser, I can create two instances of the browser or multiple instances of the browser. For example, let's say this is my Chrome browser, right? I can create one more exact replica at the same time, and then I can create one more replica of the same time in the incognito mode. Like they are totally separated, totally isolated, right? And let's see, I have logged in with my application with the admin user. And here I have logged in with, let's see, with respect to customer user. I mean, the customer credentials. And this is the Chrome browser. So this is instance number one, and this is instance number two. So this is like the browser context, two contexts of the same browser I have created. I'm going to log in with the admin user over here. And then with the admin user, I'm performing some action, some doing some settings over there. And the same settings, I saved it over here. And then I log in with this particular customer user, or at the same time, I can check it that these settings are getting reflected in this particular portal or the customer portal or not. This is slightly challenging in Selenium, but in Playwright, it's very easy to do that. So you can add n number of contexts. I can add one more context of the browser here. I can add one more page context also. I can just simply use it here. And they all are separately isolated and then working in the separate incognito mode. And then I'll check that, okay, how exactly it is working here. So creating the persistent context and configuring the browser context, handling the cookies and the local storage, authentication strategies. For example, you must have seen when I launch any application, it's giving me the authentication pop-up, how to handle that, right? So HTTP authentication or saving in the reusing authentication state, that is also a very beautiful feature in Playwright that I have already logged in the first attempt. And I really want to, again, I really want to run my test cases without any login. I directly want to go to the add to cart page or directly want to go to the, let's say, order page. I can do that, right? But in Selenium, we have to log in. When they log into the specific page, we have to do that. We have to log into the session once again in Selenium. But here, with the help of authentication mechanism in the browser context, I can easily do that in the Playwright. So we'll talk about those sessions as well here. And some really out of the box and the complex UI scenarios, like how to handle the Ajax component. Some dynamic elements are there, dynamic components are there, right? jQuery or Ajax components are there, how to handle that. Working with the complex calendars on goibibo.com or maybe makemytrip.com, and then future date or the previous date from the calendar that we have to select. There are various type of calendars are available. So how to handle that? Managing the web table with the pagination. This is also a really complex scenario. There is a web table, and then we have to click on page number one, then two, then three, next, and previous buttons are available. Reports are coming, and then we have to go to the specific page. How to go there? How to write a loop based scenarios with respect to web table with the pagination. We will talk about it. Infinite scrolling implementation. Can we do the scrolling in Playwright? Yes, of course we can do that. DOM handling with respect to shadow. There's also very good feature available in it's an inbuilt feature available in the Playwright that it's having the auto piercing of the shadow DOM. Because generally what happens in the shadow DOM, let's see if there is a web page on this particular web page and there is a shadow DOM. The shadow DOM is open shadow DOM and the element is available. In Selenium, what we used to do, if this is Selenium, Selenium has to come inside this particular shadow DOM, right? with the help of some, search context method and get shared element method, we have to get it, and then only we can interact with this particular element. But in the Playwright, it's very easy. Playwright says, okay, if the Playwright instance is available, it can directly interact with this particular shadow DOM element. I don't need to manually write the code. I don't need to write the code to get inside this particular shadow DOM. It will auto piercing. It will automatically recognize, okay, yeah, there is a shadow DOM, and let me come inside this particular shadow DOM and click on this element, or use this particular element, or create or interact with this element directly without writing the code. So we don't need to worry about the shadow DOM in the Playwright if we are using it. Same thing for the SVG elements. We will see that how to handle the SVG elements, right? The scalar vector graphs based element, SVG graphs are available, SVG search icons or different kind of icons are available, how to handle that. Working with the iframes, nested iframes, frame inside the frame. Okay, can we have different various scenarios? Yes, of course, in the Playwright also, we can handle it. And then some really complex examples are there with respect to frames. We will see that. Handling the pseudo element means which are created with the pseudo class. You must have seen in some DOM structure, you have some elements are written with colon colon before, right? You must have seen that colon colon before or colon colon after. These are called what? These are called pseudo classes. In these pseudo class based elements, nothing is available. There is no ID, no name, no XPath, no CSS, nothing. So how to handle this kind of scenario, these kind of elements? So in that case, we will see that, okay, how to handle the pseudo elements with the help of some JavaScript or something like that. Network request timing and the synchronization, that how to capture the network request and everything. We'll talk about that as well with respect to Playwright. Playwright provides some beautiful features, beautiful APIs to handle that. So these are some really out of the box complex UI scenarios are available. I'm not going to covering today like each and every bullet point. You can go through it. I'm just covering the high level scenarios, that what exactly the training is all about. Then the advanced Playwright, we are going to talk about that framework with the Playwright, right? Good thing in the Playwright is that we don't need to integrate with the separate test runner. Playwright is having the inbuilt test runner, not like Selenium. Selenium has to be integrated with the TestNG or JUnit or maybe PyTest or something like that. But in the Playwright, it's having its own test runner. I can directly start writing my test cases, prioritize my test cases, multi-threading, grouping, organizing, tagging, data providers, parameterization of my test cases, filtering, reporting, multiple panel execution of my test cases. Inbuilt features are available. Visual comparison, cross-browser testing setup, everything I can do with respect to Playwright inbuilt test runner. That's why we are going to talk about that, okay, how to use that. A very, very interesting chapter, very easy to implement that, and very powerful chapter, very powerful feature available in this particular Playwright tool. And then we are going to talk about that as well when we start designing the framework. Then one end-to-end project also, automation framework also, we will try to develop on one beautiful e-commerce application where it will give you the feel of proper end-to-end project, proper end-to-end framework, so that we can work directly when we work and join any real-time projects, we can do that. So I'll explain you what do you mean by framework, what are the patterns, the page object model, data-driven, hybrid, creating the reusable components, which is very, very important part, best practices for the framework development, we will talk about in these two sections. And once we have a good understanding about the automation implementation and the design, then we will go with the live project on one e-commerce application, like building a Playwright framework for an e-commerce application, setting up the project, how to create the page objects and the fixtures for the data, designing the test data providers, implementing configuration management, like multiple test environment. Let's say I really want to implement QA environment, test environment, dev environment, stage environment, production environment, UAT environment, how to write the script with respect to page object, how to write the proper assertions, error handling, exception handling, logging, reporting, having its own built-in HTML report, but I can integrate with the custom reporting also, like other tools which are available in the market, or Allure report also, I can use it. How to handle that, just like we have in TestNG set up in the TA down. Same thing I can set up over here as well. Cross-browser testing implementation. It's not about my tool is only supporting my framework is only supporting one browser. We have to set up the cross-browser testing implementation also with respect to live project. So once the design is completely done, right, it's not that easy chapter. These are very complex and many and very, very important for the real-time project point of view. So always the flow will be like this. First, understand about the language, because we have to be comfortable with the language. Then only you can develop the logic. So we are going to talk about with respect to JavaScript and the TypeScript, so that we will never hesitate to write the code. If I ask you create a generic function with the promises and then you are blank. So I don't want, okay, you are memorizing the things. I don't want that, okay, you are just saying that, okay, yeah, this is the way it works. No, we should have a reason behind that. Why are we doing this? And then we are talking about all the Playwright core features, right? So we will do the practice with respect to Playwright core features, just like we do in other automation tools. And once the Playwright core features, along with the basic and the advanced features are available, then we are going with the test runner. Once the test runner is available, then we are going with the end-to-end project framework that we are going to develop one end-to-end framework. This is your project framework. Here, we have to reach here. We will never directly jump into the project framework. First, improve your language, then core features, then runners, test runners, and everything so that we know that, okay, how to design the test cases because we are testers, right? We have to write the test cases. We don't need to write any magical script over here that, yeah, see, browser is getting launched and that's it. We really want to test it also that whatever we are doing, it's correctly written or not. Whatever we are doing, it's really helping me at a time of a regression cycle there or not. And then we will design the framework here, right? So this is the four sequence that we have to follow up to point number 17. Once all these things are done, then we have to obviously add some DevOps and continuous integration activities, right? The design is ready, framework is ready. Now I really want to integrate with the main pipeline, with the CI/CD pipeline, with the Jenkins integration. I really want to push my code. I really want to create number of branches. I really want to integrate my branches with the GitHub repositories. I want to run my test cases through the CI/CD pipeline, Blue Ocean pipeline. I really want to integrate with the GitHub actions so that automatically the moment I push my code, automatically my automation test cases and the pipeline is getting triggered and then it's giving me the result that how many test cases got passed or failed. So we will see proper, I'll make you perfect in the Git and the Jenkins, proper setup for the Playwright, running the Playwright test cases through the Jenkins CI/CD pipelines, how to configure with the help of Jenkins file. So we'll talk about the declarative syntax also here. GitHub actions also this time we have added here, working with the Git repositories, Git commands, and the workflows, how to create a branch, PR, conflict, everything we are going to talk about it, how to resolve the merge conflict, what are the Git best practices. I don't want to, okay, tomorrow you are joining a project. There are 4 or 5 team members are already working and they are saying, okay, let's Naveen design this particular, these number of test cases. So how to design it? What should be my first approach, right? Because there is a main branch or master branch which is already going on. So I'll cut the branch from here and then I'll start writing my test cases or start developing my code over here, not directly in the main branch. I'll create a feature branch. And once my work is done, I'll raise the PR. I'll raise a peer review and the pull request that, okay, hey, once the PR is approved, then only I will merge my code to the master branch over here. So now the code is merged here. This is how we have to start learning about how to create the local branches or remote branches and then how to merge the code. While merging the code, we might get any merge conflicts and everything. So how to resolve those conflicts as well here, right? So this is very, very important to understand that. Without this, it's very difficult to work with the team because end of the day, you have to work with the team, not like individual contributor, or you are not the only guy working in the automation. Then if you're coming from, let's say, Selenium background, we were talking about Maven, Gradle, these kind of things, but here we have a NPM or Node.js ecosystem, right? How to understanding the what do you mean by package.json, just like we have forward XML file in Maven. So here we have package.json for all the dependencies and the plugins. NPM script for the test automation, managing various dependencies, creating the custom commands, environment configuration. And I told you that how to run the test cases on multiple environments like dev environment, staging environment, prod environment, Q environment, how to configure number of files on the basis of my environment variables, creating the reusable NPM packages. We will create that and then we'll see how to deploy those packages, right? And then do we have any use case with the Docker? Of course, we have that. We can create a Docker image, whatever the test cases that we have written, the framework that we have developed. So we will talk about what do you mean by Docker. We will create a Docker file for Playwright the test for Playwright test cases, running the Playwright in the Docker containers, and we can deploy these containers anywhere through the CI/CD pipeline. We will talk about what do you mean by Docker Compose for multi-browser setup, scaling the test environment, CI/CD integration of my Docker, okay, with the Docker containers, best practices for the containerized testing, and then the Playwright Docker images. We will see what are the existing images, or can we create our own custom images also. We will talk about it. So containerization technique or testing we will perform with respect to a Docker along with the Playwright here. Very, very important chapter, very advanced chapter. And this is how you have to reach to this level also. That end of the day, we are creating the images or using the existing images with respect to Playwright and Docker, and then we are running it here. Cloud testing and integration. You must be knowing that, okay, in Selenium, we have Selenium Grid to run the test cases on the remote browser. But here in the Playwright, things are slightly different. So we will see that, okay, how to set up the cloud infrastructure. Selenium, we have Selenium Grid, but Playwright does not have actual Playwright Grid. But Playwright can use Selenium Grid also to run the test cases. There is a feature available. If you see their official documentation, it's written there. Or I can run my test cases on the various vendors. Cloud vendors are available in the market like Browser Stack or Lambda Test or Source Labs. Cross-border testing in the cloud. Maybe I really want to run my test cases on the AWS cloud or maybe Browser Stack cloud or Lambda Test. Can we do that? Yes. We will see reporting and analytics in the cloud environment, code optimization for the cloud testing, how to perform that. Means idea is that here I'm writing my code. This is my Visual Studio code in my local. I'm writing my code. I'll push my code to the GitHub repository. So this is my Git. And then this is my Jenkins server or my CI/CD pipeline or GitHub Actions, which is running over here. It will take the code from the Git. Now the code is available here. Now I have multiple choices. I can run the test cases in the headless mode also, directly on the Jenkins machine. Or I can set up one cloud where I'm running my test cases on the cloud. That also I can do it. Or maybe the browser stack or the Lambda test. These are the cloud vendors are available in the market. I can run my test cases on these clouds also here, right? Or I can run my test cases, my own cloud that I have set up, let's see on the AWS or Azure cloud, whatever you want to use, Microsoft Azure. And on this particular cloud also, I can run my test cases. So I have multiple choices available here. So the idea here is that the moment I write my code, I'll push my code to the GitHub. Let's see the code is available in the master branch. And then we will set up various techniques like ngrok proxy in between, which is automatically taking the request from the webhooks. We will set up the webhooks also here. This is a typical DevOps activities, guys. I'm telling you, exactly same thing we have to implement in the Playwright also. So don't stop that, okay, yeah, Playwright framework is done, project is done. No, the real thing will start after that. Once you have to prepare your infrastructure, DevOps, CI/CD, Jenkins setup, that we have to do it here, right? So the moment I push my code, this webhooks will read this particular event that, okay, yeah, there is a push event happened. It will be given to this ngrok proxy. So we will see that, okay, what do you mean by this? So proxy we will set up over here and it will automatically trigger my job. And the execution is running on my cloud or maybe browser stack or maybe Lambda test or maybe on some other machine here in the parallel mode. So this is the kind of level and the setup that we have to do it here, right? Once this is done, let's talk about quickly Playwright, some advanced features. You know that, okay, in the Playwright, with the Playwright, I can do the API testing also. I can do the API mocking as well. Network interception and the modification also I can do that, which is API testing, which is not supported in Selenium, but here we can do the API testing, mocking also, visual testing and the screenshot comparison, geolocation, device simulation, some out of the box advanced features that I have written. Testing responsive designs also, I can check it over here. Playwright with the AI, which is also very popular. Playwright is having its own MCP server. I'll tell you how to install this server and how to use this Playwright MCP server by integrating with the AIs and the LLM AI models. I can integrate with the GitHub Copilot also, and then I can run my test cases. I mean, I can design the entire framework through the prompts, just like we do it in the chat GPT, right? I can give the English prompt and then I can tell that, okay, design this, implement this, everything I can do with respect to MCP. This is Model Context Protocol. I can use it here. And this inbuilt server provided by Playwright, we'll just need to install the server in the Playwright in the Visual Studio Code, and then it will start working. So we will see that how to integrate with the AI and the LLM AI models as well here, right? Along with the API testing and everything here. So, and in between, if any new features are available with respect to Playwright, we will definitely try to add it here. But according to my understanding, this is like very, very much needed topic. Whatever the topics that I have written here with respect to Playwright, everyone should know about it. Please do not learn without the language. Please do not jump into the framework without the basic understanding of the language and the core features of Playwright. Right? Once this is done, then only we will enjoy, and then only you will be able to understand and try to implement the automation framework once you have the good understanding about the language and the core features of Playwright, right? So 3 days in a week, Monday and Wednesday, Thursday. So you will get enough time for the practice also. And every day the record session will be recorded, and after the session, the recording will be given to you with the lifetime access, right? All the recorded videos, complete code repositories will be shared with you with the lifetime access. All the JavaScript TypeScript examples that we have seen, we are going to cover, will be shared on the daily basis. Important notes in the documentation also will be given, PDF and ebooks also. Everyday notes we will prepare and will be shared with you, right? Update for the future Playwright version. If any updates are available, as I told you, we will provide that. Community support in the forums from Naveen Automation Labs. If you have any query or any question after 6 months also, feel free to ask me via email. When you try to implement the things and everything, feel we will try to help you there as well. And then now it will be very easy for you to crack interviews, right? So if someone is asking about the Playwright, you will get that level of confidence that okay, yes, now I can crack Playwright. I'm far better than they're better than other candidates who are there in the market. With the proper understanding, with the proper training, proper guidance, proper direction, that what to learn at what speed, what to learn, in which sequence we are going to cover it here. So this is the last point, that okay, lifetime access on all the recorded videos, free code repositories in the sorry, I've written Java code. Actually, I've written JavaScript code, but important notes and the PDF and the ebooks. I'll update it. It's a JavaScript code, not Java code. If still you have any question, you can just simply go through it. Will I get the recordings for the sessions every day without fail, immediately on the same day within 3 4 hours? Every day you will get the recording. Is this training useful for the freshers? Absolutely. The design that we have done, see, in automation, it really doesn't matter. You are a fresher or an experienced, because in experienced person in the testing also, but does not have any knowledge in the automation. Exactly same thing with those guys also. Same thing with the freshers also. Everyone has to learn the programming. Everyone has to start from the scratch and from the zero, and then implement the framework end to end after that. So 100% useful for the freshers or manual testers also. There is no issue with that. Training useful for manual testers, of course. As I mentioned already, this training you will be able to become expert in automation for sure, especially in Playwright. Can I justify my automation knowledge after this training? 100%. Because we cover the training in that way only. The way we cover, it will not only important for the project point of view, but it is also important to crack your interviews as well. So you can easily justify your automation knowledge after the training at a time of interview with the proper guidance and the proper direction. Right? This is what I have written. Can I crack test automation interviews after this training? 100%. Why not? Okay, but you have to be disciplined. You have to showcase that okay, every day you are learning, every day you are attending the session, and every day you're revising it also for at least for next 2 to 3 months. Especially it will take around 15 to 16 weeks, because we are having this time only 3 days in a week, and this is something very new tool for you guys also. So I wanted, okay, instead of 4 to 5 days, let's make it to 3 days, so you will get enough time for the preparation and everything, right? So approximately it might take around 16 weeks. It might take more than that also, but we will never compromise in the quality and the content. We will never ask that, okay, no, some other trainer will take the training. No, in Naveen Automation Labs, only Naveen is there. There is no other trainer. We will never allow anyone for that, right? So who will be the trainer? Only Naveen. We don't allow any other trainers to take the sessions. Will this training will be different from existing YouTube videos? Absolutely different. On YouTube, if you see that very few videos are there on the Playwright, this is absolutely different. The proper end-to-end framework, page object model, reporting, CI/CD, DevOps integration, CI/CD integration, infrastructure setup for the Playwright is totally different, right? And in that training, we never copy paste the things. Yes, here and there some templates are available. We will try to copy paste, but whatever the according to the current market standard or industry standard, the way we write the code in the real-time projects, we will cover at that level. So that's totally different from the YouTube videos. If you've missed any sessions, recordings will be given to you. You can refer it anytime, right? So let's see, we have session on Monday, then Wednesday and Thursday. And Thursday session you missed, so you will have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days for revision. Any previous topic also, you can revise it, right? Assignments, yes, for almost every topic we have assignments. We will give it to you. And can I improve my programming skills after this training? Of course. The way you are thinking, the way you are writing the code, we will never write the code in the plain programming. We always try to make sure, okay, we are creating some generic functions, making sure about the time complexity, making sure about the code complexity and different code optimization techniques that we are going to talk about it, plus along with the corner cases and the edge cases, we are going to talk about it here. So more logical thinking we will apply while writing the code instead of writing the plain script here. Okay. How will you cover the topic? Is it only theory or any real-time experience? Of course, absolutely real-time, absolutely practical knowledge. You must have seen my training if you coming from Selenium or API backgrounds from my training that we never share any PPTs or something like that. No fancy PPTs, purely into your code, purely into the design diagrams. We will prepare it, architecture diagrams in the notepad, in the paint diagram we will prepare. We will try to connect multiple dots and then we will cover that here, right? Do you provide any certification? No. As there is no official Playwright certification in the market, but we will give you the course completion certificate. You just to share the GitHub repository URLs after the course completion, and then that's it. Right. So still you have any questions or any doubts, you can feel free to ping me on WhatsApp on this particular number, and that's it. It's just a matter of 15 to 16 weeks. Learn it. This tool is very much demanding in the market and booming like anything. And a lot of companies they started working upon the Playwright, especially with the new projects, a new application they have started developing on the Playwright. So if you're coming from Selenium background, it will be like feather in a cap. It will be like a deadly combination that okay, Selenium, now a new tool also that you have added in your portfolio instead of learning unnecessary things. So please add this thing also in your profile. Or you're coming non-testing background or manual testing background or non-programming background. For that also, it will be like the best opportunity for you to learn with the Playwright. Later on, after 6 months, 7 months, or 8 months, or 1 year, if you really want to learn some other automation tool, you can. It will be very easy for you to adapt the new automation tool. Maybe let's say after 6 months or 1 year, you want to learn Selenium. So it will be very easy for you to learn Selenium now, right? Just like for Selenium guys, it will be very easy to learn Playwright. Okay. So if you really need proper guidance, proper direction, which topic I have to cover after every step, after every topic, then this training will help you a lot. Otherwise, you will be lost. Otherwise, you will be completely lost. That okay, no, what is happening? I have no idea about it. Because on the YouTube, on social media, that's n number of videos are available, but there is no proper sequence. There is no proper guidance available for that. So if you want a dedicated learning, dedicated training, you can just simply apply for that for this particular bootcamp. Okay, so it's very simple. Fill the registration form. Go to this particular page and check your timings. If timing is suitable for you, if you're not able to attend it, every day you are getting the recorded videos. Also, some people may be having some other commitments or maybe office or something like that. You just don't need to worry about it. You can just you will get the recorded videos every day. Also, you can refer the recorded videos also. And whenever you need time, I mean, whenever you have time, you can just simply attend the training and the live sessions also, come up with your doubts and then clear your doubts as well there, right? So go through it and let me know if you have any other questions in the comment section. Happy to help you guys. So I'm super excited for this batch because this is the first Playwright batch we are going to start with Naveen Automation Labs. And I'm 100% sure it will be beneficial for you. It will be really helpful for you, for your career and for your profile. Thank you so much, guys. That's all. Keep watching Naveen Automation Labs. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and God bless you all.